Good evening. The next segment of Pasaba Bekisnin to be discussed is that which is filled with a sweet filling. It's the second category of Pasaba Bekisnin that turns otherwise hamotzi bread into mizonos. Now, how much does that have to be filled with? So the Magen Avram explains that it only becomes Pasaba Bekisnin if the primary purpose of eating these foods are for the sake of the filling. However, if the main thing is still the dough and there's just a little bit of sweetness that's put within the dough, which is otherwise hamotzi, then it would remain hamotzi. The Taz says that it doesn't have to be the primary thing, but as long as there is a clear, significant taste of the filling, then that is sufficient to take the bracha from being a hamotzi or mizonos. Some examples of these are a pie, a hamantashen, these type of foods that have a sweet filling automatically switch from being hamotzi to mizonos. However, there's a question about meat and cheese. What if the filling is not a sweet filling, but it's more of a substantial food itself? The Shulchan Aruch writes that that dough would be considered hamotzi, and the Achronim are bothered. Why is it that that's not considered pasaba bekisnin? So the Taz actually concludes that it is in fact pasaba bekisnin, but the Magen Avram suggests that perhaps dough filled with a sweet filling is considered mizonos, as mentioned. But if here, since meat and cheese are filled with a meal type of food, it doesn't turn the food into a snack, but it remains as a type of meal food and therefore would be hamotzi. Mishnah Brura says that if the resulting dough with the cheese or meat turns it into a snack, then it would be considered mizonos. But if in fact it remains a meal type of food, then it is hamotzi. So the basic idea here is that the second category of pasaba bekisnin is a dough that is filled with food that makes it into a snack food. If it remains as a meal food, then if it's a sweet filling, then it's still automatically mizonos. But if it's a meal food and it remains as a meal food after the filling, if there's some sort of meat or cheese that's filled within it, then it could in fact remain hamotzi if it is eaten as a meal food. Even if one is not kovei suda, even if one does not set their meal upon eating that food, because that in all circumstances would become hamotzi. Have a great night.